Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Do you remember that Pinocchio film from a few years ago? Not the good one. No, there were two out around the same time. The bad one. This bad one. The Disney one. The one which had 28% critics as well as 27% audience score. By, amazingly, a really good director, Robert Zemeckis of Back to the Future. Well, anyway, while we're talking about this, we now know how much it cost. Yeah, we're going to be taking a look at this today, ladies and gents. Please do hit subscribe if you're new here, folks. This is a Disney bomb. Yeah, I mean, the thing about this film was it was released on Disney Plus anyway. So they absorbed the cost, but how much they absorbed will leave you... I mean, it's eye-wateringly high amounts, especially for how shit it was. You've got to remember just how bad it was. Also, side note, the budget for this, more than double the budget for A Quiet Place Part 1, or Quiet Place Day 1, whatever it was called. Yeah. Yeah, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? It makes you think. More than double. Some money laundering going on, I reckon. Anyway, we'll take a look. Hit subscribe if you're new here. Do turn the bell notifications on. Board my boat to nonsense town that is Disney. Anyway, like I said, this was one of those rare occasions where the critics and the audiences, they both agreed. They both agreed. It was, it was pretty universally panned. Critics' consensus, visually dazzling but soulless. The largely inert Pinocchio reaffirms that you should always let your conscience be your guide, away from unnecessary remakes. Audience says just watch Disney's original Pinocchio instead. And yeah, the critics and the audience, they were not far off one another. Here was the cast, pretty star-studded cast. I mean, Tom Hanks as Geppetto, like a bit of a weird one, but alright. And again, good director, Robert Zemeckis, good director. Good cast, good director, bad production company, Disney. But anyway, thanks to Forbes, we now know it cost $155 million. It's just insane. Like, I like making these videos because it's batshit crazy. It's genuinely just batshit crazy. I do these videos. It's not anger. Like, I'm not angry. I don't care. It's not my money. But it's more just like, why are these films costing so much money, for starters? A Quiet Place Day 1 cost $67 million. $67 million. This was $155 million. And it looked like shit. Madness. I make these videos more from a perspective of this is why your movie ticket is so expensive. Like, this is one of the reasons. It absolutely is. But let's take a look, shall we? So Caroline Reed does great work over at Forbes. This is a Forbes article. She does really good work over at Forbes. So Disney has now revealed yesterday, so 2 days ago, because this is a day old, that it spent $154.6 million on making its live-action version of Pinocchio, which was panned by critics and audiences, branded soulless for its computer-generated recreation of a puppet. Look at this thing. Fucking my God. So directed by Robert Zemeckis of Back to the Future fame, the 2022 movie stars Tom Hanks as Geppetto, toy maker who creates the enchanted puppet. Pinocchio was given the green light under Disney's chief Bob Iger. Do you remember? Can't put the blame on anyone else now, can he? He loves to put the blame on other people. But no, Bob Iger greenlit this bag of shit. And it was released on Disney Plus streaming platform as part of a content drive designed to boost subscriber numbers. Did not have a magic touch. People hated it. Audiences gave the movie a score of 27%. And then critics, 28%. Now, I think what's interesting about this, let's take a look at how many people actually reviewed it, right? Not many people. More people have reviewed The Acolyte. So it just goes to show how bad it is. No one could even be bothered to watch it. If you got the ratings for this in terms of viewership, it would be terrible. If they released this in theatres, it would have lost hundreds of millions of dollars. So maybe it was the right decision just to absorb the cost just of production, hey? Madness. Madness. Absolutely crazy. Now it says this: Bambi, Peter Pan, Winnie the Pooh have already fallen into the public domain, leading to a spat of copycat productions, including horror flick Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Disney's live-action remakes reset the clock to the present day, which could explain why the puppet in the remake is a digital doppelganger of its cartoon counterpart. So they're doing the remakes just so they could retain copyright, by the way. That's literally why. So this is $150 million, $155 million just to keep the copyright. Even though you can still make a Pinocchio movie anyway. Right. So how do we know the budget? Well, because they filed it, well, they shot it in the UK, which means they filed it in the UK for tax relief. So movies made in the United Kingdom are exceptions, and Pinocchio was one of them. Studios film in the UK to benefit from the government's audio-visual expenditure credit, which gives them a cash reimbursement of up to 25.5% of the money they spend in the country. To qualify for the reimbursement, at least 10% of the core production costs need to relate to activities in the UK. In order to demonstrate this to the government, studios tend to set up a separate production company in the UK for each movie they make here. And the companies are responsible for everything from pre-production, principal photography to post-production. Delivery of the finished film and payment of goods and services relation to it. So they have to file publicly available financial statements, and this lifts the curtain on precisely how much it costs to make each movie. The filings show everything from the head count and salaries to the total costs and the level of cash reimbursement. So I can show you how much I had to pay in my tax. Yay. Or how some of my tax did anyway. So the companies usually have code names. Disney's subsidiary behind Pinocchio is called Monstro Productions, after the sea monster, which swallows the puppet and is created in one of the most dramatic moments in the movie. So its latest financial statements for the year basically for the year September 30th, 2023, were filed yesterday and state that the movie's $155 million production costs were, quote, in line with the production budget. As shown in the graph, which we'll get to in a minute, the costs were only just higher than those of Cruella. How? How was this higher? How was this higher than Cruella, a live-action film with a... My God. The fucking budgets are insane. So likewise, it exceeded the cost of the live-action Cinderella and was equivalent to the budget of 2010's Alice in Wonderland. That's madness. So here's the graph. I mean, that is insane. The Little Mermaid cost £243.5 million. Pounds! That's like $260 million, $270 million. That's insane. Anyway, so one of the biggest expenses was paying the 1,999 employees, 32.4% of whom were women according to the filings. I don't give a shit. Remarkably, this is higher than the production proportion of women who worked on the Star Wars The Acolyte, despite it supposedly being a showcase for equality. Anyway, so in terms of qualifying for the reimbursement, the gender of the staff wasn't important, but their nationality was. In order to receive the money, films must pass a points test based on factors such as whether the film showcases the UK, whether the soundtrack was recorded in the UK, and how many of the lead actors and production team are from the UK. Filming in the UK doesn't just generate jobs for locals, it also drives spending on services. Maybe, I guess. But anyway... So Pinocchio received $23.5 million. So it still cost $131.1 million, which they just had to pay for. Because they haven't got anything for that. That's crazy. Look how fucking bad it was. Oh my God. Wow. How bad is that? Anyway, Bob Iger greenlit this. He's terrible. He's awful. This is quite comical as well. His approach is starting to pay off as entertainment arm of Disney finally made an operating profit in the 3 months to March. However, when combined with the sports streaming division, it made an $18 million loss. Huh. Anyway, there you go. Not much else really to say, to be honest. Just another huge Disney bomb. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. Turn those bell notifications on, and if you want to support me further, please do, because I do get demonetized. Check out my Patreon. It's a great community, great over there. Didn't ask me anything recently, so yeah, check out my Patreon. Cheers, take care, bye bye now.